Hello, welcome to something a little bit different here. I'm going to actually turn up the volume to 50 because there's not really much going to be in internal volume because I'm not going to play a game here. I'm just going to talk about things while I do art stuff. Here, I have some Bastille. I'm going to try to a little bit in the background. I haven't done any volume testings here, so I'm going to try to not make it too powerful here. Yeah, listen to that smooth jazz. Actually, I'm gonna raise it up a bit. I really love this soundtrack. I don't care if it's very loungy, but I love it. Plus, I don't think I'm gonna get a copyright strike for it. Yeah. Basically, it's gonna be like a blog, but it's not gonna be like about my life or anything of that. That's boring. But mostly about anime, games, things I want to talk about that I don't have anybody to talk to about with. As well, it gives me some time to talk about the channel or whatever. It's something new, something I want to do. Make sure I'm recording. And it's less, it's more relaxed. I don't have to worry about performing or anything like that. Well, you have to worry about doing some shitty art here, though. Alright. I really love this jazz. Okay. Should I use this one? Yeah, why not? So, the topic's gonna be about Robotech. I've been watching Robotech this week. I was watching an episode on Channel Awesome. They were talking about anime, and one of them brought up Robotech, and I also watched Happy Console Gamer, who also talked about Robotech and Macross. Now, I've always been interested, but I never had access to the series or to the actual animation because it's apparently really hard to get to. But it's on Netflix, so currently, as I, upload this video, if you guys are interested, it's on Netflix. So, yeah, I'm gonna try to draw a MadCat, the Timberwolf, from the MechWarrior series, and I'm sure other kind of RPGs out there, whatever. I don't know which style I'm gonna do it. I was thinking about doing this replica here, but I don't want to do a direct copy. I want to do something different. So let's actually do a landscape, quick landscape here. Let's have it bursting through something like a brick wall. So just imagine a wall here, almost like that. Maybe a little bigger. I'm just kind of letting my mind do stuff here. But, yeah, I've been watching them. They've been suggesting, Robotech. They grew up with Robotech. And I was hesitant at first because I thought, it's going to be like 4 kids or like Sailor Moon when it's highly edited for American audience. It's not worth watching, basically. But no, I was completely wrong. I'm glad I was wrong. And also, on Netflix, it's uncut. So there is nudity, especially in the second generation. You can actually see the character's tits. But yeah, I don't like this position. I don't like it at all. I'm gonna take the whole 30 minutes trying to set this up here. Maybe like this way. This way? No, that's not gonna work. Maybe a little bit higher though. That works. I'm using the software ArtRage. I came with my Wacom. It's not bad. I prefer it. There we go. I like this kind of view. So I'm gonna do a frame here. Like I was saying, though, Robotech. It's been highly suggested, and I was interested. So I started watching on Netflix, and I have to say I was completely wrong in the fact that I thought the translation, the localization, was gonna be bad. And I'm actually quite impressed to how much of the adult content or the harsh lessons that the anime has was still intact. It was not neutered like you would expect from basically 4 kids. Like I grew up with 4 kids animation, unfortunately, and I can tell you, if you ever watch One Piece 4 kids, you understand what I mean. It's really neutered. They're afraid of harming children's innocence, basically. Let's see, MadCat has a circular body here, as you can tell. Although this looks like a different model a little bit. Doesn't matter. Chasey Fear. Anyways, I was a little hesitant going in, again, because of the censorship problems that may have happened. But particularly, I just don't care for space opera kind of stuff. At least at the time. Now, I'm kind of interested now. Like, I never got into Gundam Wing. It never really intrigued me that much. But no, it's fabulous. Fucking fabulous. I love the art direction. Oh god, the art direction's amazing. I don't know if how much of it was chopped up in the initial run in the US, but it's man, it's something else. Like, I don't even know. Like, it makes me think of like a lot of the scenes, especially when it comes down to the massive destruction on the planet or of that sort. It makes me think of Pink Floyd, The Wall. Particularly the Goodbye Blue Skies art direction, where you just kind of watch this horrific war setting happening, and that's kind of what it does. Like, it's just so brutal, and I think that's intended because you don't notice it all. It's not like on your face graphic. It's intended to be there for a kind of I don't want to say shock, because it sounds like if I said shock, it would probably mean like stare just to get attention. Like, let me rephrase that. Like, when it comes to shocking media, usually it's there just to shock people, to make them, scream or feel horrified. In this case, while it's there, it's not that its main intention. It's there to kind of actualize this horrible event that happens in war. And I just find it beautiful and frightening at the same time. I don't know. It's amazing. I highly recommend Robotech for anybody who has not watched it, who is into anime. If you're not into anime, you're not gonna fucking care. Like, hell, I don't know why you're watching this. Not that I do anime stuff. Let's do his leg a little bit further back. Now, I do have some issues with the localization. Not so much with the first Robotech or the first generation, but the second generation. Second generation is terrible. Well, no, let me rephrase that. It's not terrible. Like, I'm still watching it. It's not that bad, but it's just it doesn't fit. Like, I understand that these are two different, pretty much, animations, and I can understand that perspective because obviously it has different. I think it has a different artist. It has a different director. Obviously, it seems to come out later too, so it's even like it's really not related. And that's unfortunately the downfall because it's kind of being used as a what you call it, like a obviously like a sequel, but I'm trying to think of a word for it. Like it's being used as a it's under the shadow of the first generation, basically. And I think that's a shame because it's really good. I mean, let me rephrase. I think the second generation actual animation is probably really good. Like, the story is probably really good. I looked up the story plot and it sounds really interesting, but when it comes down to the actual implementation, it just sounds, it loses personality. Like, the first generation has a lot of personality, and it's brilliant because of that. I just enjoy the atmosphere of the first one. Like the first episode, I didn't care for. Like, I thought, oh, it's just gonna be some really cheesy ass animation that America ruined, and it starts out that way. Like, it starts out almost in the guise of like Rocky and Bullwinkle, with that announcer and introducing you to all the characters, all these cheesy ass dialogue. It really sounds. It comes off like your typical cheesy ass animation, but then it gets really real on you. And I also like the whole idea that they don't know what they're doing. In the classical sense of that, they're not incompetent, but they're just doing something different because basically the story is they start using the super mega, or the super mega, maybe there's no mega, I don't know, the super fortress basically, the SFD1 or SFD1, and they don't know how to use it, they've never used it before, and they're pushed to use it when aliens starts invading them basically, who are looking for this structure because they know what it is, even though they don't know really to a degree of what it should be. And so it thrusts, so that's pretty much the whole plot. Like, the military is trying to make use of the structure that they don't really know that much about. So they're learning as they're going. I find that incredibly interesting because they don't know the implications of what they're going to be doing. And sometimes shit happens and they don't have any control over it because they don't understand the technology enough. And it causes a lot of damage, not only on themselves, but in general, just fucking start shooting laser beams. They don't know what the fuck's going on. I just find that impressive. I enjoyed that aspect where they are ignorant of not only their situation, but the tools they're using to a degree, of course. I'm kind of losing some visual cues here. I was going a little too wild on my things here. Let's move this out of the way. That's coming out in detail. I'm not going to do anything too major. I'm just kind of sketching here. Nothing's going to be complete here. It'll take me a little bit while to do anything clean. Especially when I don't have any practice doing mix. But yeah, it's amazing. I lost my train of thought here. I'm trying to fix this here. It doesn't look right in this sector. That's alright. I'm just gonna do my thing. It's not gonna be serious. Try to pop this out here. It's gonna be a little bit thicker here, structure-wise too, because it'd be the ankles, basically the ankles. It'd be a nice support. But yeah, back to the talk here. I don't think it has from here. It just got a module, got a little toe here, but it's not actually a. There we go. That's more like it. That looks about right. I could do a little bit here. Try to distinguish the legs here. It's alright, I suppose. I don't know what's going on with this. I'm not getting much of this, kind of. I kind of got a box here. Let's try to. The gun's blocking this view, so it's not a. It's a little bit unfortunate though. I think there's a thing that sticks out here. Looks good. I don't know what this is, so I'm just gonna remove it. Anyways, I'm getting focused on my artwork here. But yeah, but I enjoy the fact they're learning on as they go. It makes the intrigue even more interesting because you don't know what's going to happen at that point. There's a cockpit here. Looks like a typical thing. That looks a little phallic here. Get that out. I'll just kind of go from here. It looks like there's a roundish. Like, this looks a little bit more round than it really is. It kind of looks like I made a sausage. It's not really that much of a sausage. It's kind of narrow, if I recall. Like, almost a swoop. Like, almost like that. Like, almost like a falcon plane. I don't know, I'm just gonna be a little bit more literal here because I've not played MechWarrior in a while. But, yeah, I enjoy that concept that, that they don't know what they're up against and that they don't know what their capabilities are either because they never used that technology before. At least not to the extent they're doing. I found that really interesting. Also, there's some aspects that were just weird. Like, at one point Rick and Mime gets, they are out in space, and so Rick has to freaking survive, try to get her back to land before they freeze to death, basically, because their oxygen's going. There's a leak in the cockpit, so it's freezing up everything, which I thought was also interesting in itself, too. So they're trying to survive here, while he's trying to also not let May know that they're pretty much near death at this point. But then they finally got on SD1, etc., etc. Then at some point they're just trying to survive in this hull, in this pretty much in the maintenance rooms. They're not really sure if they're going to survive or not, which in itself is kind of bleak, which is another topic I'll talk about here on that series, which I also enjoy. But at one point he decides he's going to try to go out in space, and there's a fucking space tuna. It fucking bewildered me, like a space tuna. Like fish. There's a fucking fish floating out in space. It doesn't ever talk about this ever again. It doesn't really acknowledge there's a fucking space tuna floating about. And he gets it, and they eat on that for a while. Like, it's just so fucking random. It didn't make sense. Like, I still don't even know. I'm so bewildered by that. Like, it doesn't even acknowledge it at that point. It's like, alright. He had a fucking fish. Okay, that's cool. Anyways. The actual plot is interesting. I was intrigued by it. The characters are likable. They're very relatable. I enjoy the idea of them trying to battle dual lives, basically. Like, they're living two different lives, and they're trying to satisfy one aspect and trying to balance the other, and it doesn't work that way. Which leads to, like, a love triangle, among other things. It's really... Actually, it's a really aggravating love triangle. Like, it's one of the most aggravating story. It's the most aggravating love stories I've ever fucking seen on a animation, or fucking anything really. Because it's about I don't even know how to explain it. It's so fucking retarded sometimes. It's like none of them wants to admit their feelings, and because of this, it causes a lot of miscommunications and misunderstanding, which leads to other problems down the line. It's just, they can't freaking settle for one thing, and they keep going back and forth, and it causes more drama. It's just, it makes you want to, like, slap them. I mean, it makes for good drama, sure. It just, like, basically at the very end of the of that saga of that generation, it's just them bickering and getting drunk and completely feeling sorry for themselves. Like, shit, this has gone depressing. But yeah. What else is there to say? It's a fabulous game, or not a game, fabulous anime. I'm hoping it gets better for the second generation. It's, like I said, it's kind of on the it's trying to be something it's not, and it's not any fault to the original writers. Like, when I read the wiki on the actual on the actual plot, it sounded far more intriguing than what I'm getting. Even though it's not that butchered from what I can decipher, it's still really neutered. Like, it feels forced in certain areas because they're trying to establish a link that's not there, and you can tell. Like, even when you were, even in the episodes before the second generations, they show the Masters, which is actually part of the sequences of the of the second generation, and it's so obvious that it's a different art direction. I thought maybe I was just, you know, being me, just going, oh, this is probably not it. But no, because after a certain point, that whole plot drops. Like, you don't see those people ever again until the second generation, when they're revealed they're the Masters and they're all this crap. It's just, I don't know. It's kind of silly. It's not my idea of. I feel like it could have gotten better treatment, I suppose. Like, I don't know why they needed to link it up to one another. It's just as good as is. I don't know. But I'm gonna try to give it a chance. I don't care much for the characters. They're not as interesting. They're kind of boring. They're not relatable. That's the other thing. Like, they're just not relatable to me. I can relate with Rick. I can relate with Mime in some levels. Like, everyone's trying to figure out their position in life. They're also love triangles. That shit happens sometimes. As well as the facing the realities of well, not war. I've never been to war, so I can't say much on that. But there's also a different lesson on the like a warning of sorts. Like, basically, I don't know how old the artist or the writer of the first Macross, the Super Fortress Defense Macross series is, but I feel like he's relating a lot of his experiences growing up with the Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Like, there's a lot of resemblance of this. It feels like a warning of sorts. Like, if we keep, trying to focus on war as the only means in our society, this is what's going to happen. This is all we're going to be seeing is destruction, death, and I think that's where the art direction kind of stresses the horror of this by watching these people get obliterated, almost like on the level of Terminator when the bomb, where she's at having a flashback or like a dream where she's at a park and then suddenly the atom bomb explodes in the back and she's watching everything gets evaporated, even herself. It's kind of like that. It's just, I don't know. It's a fabulous anime though. I highly recommend it to anybody who watches this this vlog of sorts. That's an interesting sketch. It's not bad. It's definitely missing something though. It's a little rough, but I kind of like it. I'm almost at a 30-minute mark here actually. Let's see how... 22 minutes. But yeah, it's not a bad anime. I'm rather impressed. I'm still gonna try to give it I'm trying to watch all of them. I would love to get my hands on the Macross films. I heard they're really good. I don't know where to get them. I don't really have the money. Too. That's another factor too. Maybe if I cancel my subscription with Netflix. I don't know. But yeah. I'm rather impressed with the animation. I'm rather impressed with the localization too. They didn't do too bad of a job from what I understand. Like, yeah. Don't know what else to say. Like, I feel like I have more to say about it, and I think I've already said enough about why isn't this in there. Remove. Should be fast still only. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like Samurai Champloo, but I don't want to copyright hit. What else is there to say about the anime? It's fucking brilliant. That's all I have to say about it. Like, it's really brilliant. It does the thing that I think Neon Genesis Evangelion wanted to do, but didn't manage it. Not in the same way. Don't get me wrong, Neon Genesis is decent too, although I can't watch it. Not because it's bad, it's just, I deal with depression and I don't need something to remind me about futility. I really don't need that, nope. I still love the art direction. I just can't get over the art direction, it's just so bleak. That's the other thing about it, I didn't expect it to be so bleak. Like, I guess because, the Japanese, they don't really mind the being harsh with the teenagers. Well, actually, I don't even know if the demographics was teenagers for Macross. It seemed like it was more for adults. So I don't know. supposed to be like a... Just have things falling down here, just because. What else is there to say? But yeah, the second generation's missing something. It feels like it's missing the charm, the personality. It's just, it feels so generic. Everything's so generic in it. I just can't get over it. It frustrates me a bit because I want to like it. I want to be into it, but I can't be into it. Like, I just finished, I don't know what episode it was, but someone died in it. I don't know who died because he was introduced. He was a spy, and they didn't really introduce him that much, so it wasn't like he was significant. It wasn't like some other deaths in the first generation where you were like, oh, shit, he died. I wasn't expecting that. I don't know. Maybe it's my bickering at this point. Like, I really... I just wish... I'm just hoping the second generation improves. If not, I'm gonna try to stick with it until the third, maybe skip over all that, because I just don't care for the characters. Like, I don't care how many times you can show me her tits. The main character sucks. Like, I don't care. Like, I can't relate with someone who's that vain, and she doesn't have any other merit. Like, at one point, she decides to go off the cuffs and try to blast her way out of a garbage disposal. Yeah, it led to a funny event when everyone's dodging a goddamn laser beam flying back and forth because they, apparently it was, the steel was, the wall around it was like, not laser resistant, but it was reflective of lasers. And she did it anyways, almost killing everybody, which I thought was funny in that fashion, but it still was a terrible plot point because it eventually led to opening in the ground. And it's like, Jesus Christ, what kind of... Even like the main characters in the first generation, they weren't incompetent. They were new to what they're doing, but they weren't incompetent. They knew enough to survive, and in many cases they barely survived, and it wasn't from sheer luck. It was just it was just from sheer dumb luck. Like, they weren't intentionally putting themselves in stupid situations. They were just trying to survive, and I think that's I don't know. I think that's the key part of that. I don't know. I got my gripes. I may just skip over the second generation. I mean, it's not going to hurt anything because they're different storylines anyway, so it's not going to matter. And I think that's the unfortunate aspect of that. But yeah, I guess I'm going to end it here for this. I thought I was going to talk more, but I realized I can talk about 30 minutes worth of shit about anime. So I may do this a little bit more. Yeah, enjoy my picture here. It looks alright. I kind of like the look of it. It's obviously not the best drawing. It's a nice sketch. It does have a little roughness to it, which I think works. So I'm gonna do this video there, and hope you enjoy this video. If anybody watches, I'll hope you guys will. Thank you.